Okay. Hello, Chris Word and First Business Rescue. I'm going to do a video today, this video is for you if you are thinking of closing your limited company down. And the message I want to give you is 99% of the people watching this video now are not going to be able to use this method to to close their company. And the method I'm talking about is striking off a business. Now, companies mainly will close for two reasons. Either the owners had enough, they want to retire, they want to do something different, or the business can't afford to pay its debts, and it's become insolvent. Now, closing a business is a relatively straightforward thing to do, depending on your situation. Now, if you've got no debts, if your business has not been trading for 3 months, or you can pay your debts off before you close it, then you want to strike the company off. Dissolve the company from Companies House. You file a DSO1 form. It costs £10. There's no insolvency practitioners going to investigate your conduct. Companies House receive your DSO1 form. They'll advertise it in the London Gazette or the Edinburgh Gazette if you're north of the border. And if no one objects within 2 months, poof, your company has gone. It has disappeared. It has dissolved. You're not able to do that if you've taken a bounce back loan, by the way. And it's important to understand the differences between striking off a company and liquidating a company. Because, okay, you're closing a company with both options, but there's some big differences that I want to explain to you. Just to go through the checklist of when you can strike a company off. No trading or business activities other than concluding the company's affairs over the last 3 months. You can't have been trading for 3 months. You can't be going through liquidation. There's no outstanding agreements to creditors, so you can't owe a bounce back loan. You can't owe rent. You can't really owe the HMRC. You've got no outstanding legal action against your company. So let's say one of your creditors is about to issue you with the CCJ. You can't strike the company off. And all the employees and creditors need to have been paid in full if you're going to strike the company off. Now, it's an informal process. There's very little administration. There's no investigation with the striking off of the company. You simply fill out a DSO1 form, you put it into Companies House, and the company gets dissolved in around 3 months. Let me just check my notes. Now, if you've got debt, if your business has got debt, you may be getting advised that you can try and strike the company off. Now, I just want to run a scenario by you. Let's say you owe, 10 grand to the HMRC. Let's just have a bit of my coffee. Let's say you might owe a supplier, 3 grand. But your company's got no way to trade. There's no way of you recovering it. The company has no assets or has no money. You can't afford to pay an insolvency practitioner to close the company down. Well, what are your options? So if you was to write to your creditors, so that's the HMRC and the supplier you owe 3 grand, hypothetically, and you say to them, listen, I have no cash, I have no assets in the business, I'm going to file a DSO1 form to Companies House, and send them a copy of the DSO1 form and invite them in the letter to say, listen, if you would prefer to, please, you can pay for my liquidation of the company. It's highly likely that the HMRC and the person that you owe 3 grand will not object to the strike off. And the main reason is it's going to cost them more than 3 grand to recover that money from you. The HMRC are going to look at it and go, right, they owe us 10 grand. That's a lot of money to me and you. Okay. But the HMRC, 10 grand, they're going to go, well, we're not going to recover anything. It's highly likely they'll let the company get dissolved. Now, be warned, your company could be reinstated at any point in the future if that happens. Okay. But It is an option if your back's against the wall, you have absolutely no money, you've got no director redundancy to pay liquidators fees, but you need to close your company. Okay. Now, where am I? Now, again, I need to hammer this home. If you've taken a bounce back loan, you're not going to be able to strike the company off. And the key reason is the bank will object. So when you put a strike off application into Companies House, you file this DSO1 form. The bank that lent you the bounce back loan will have a little tracker on your company, and it will inform the bank whenever your company does anything, submits accounts, CCJs, winding up petitions. And the bank will see you've tried to strike the company off, and the HMRC might see it as well, and they will object to the strike off. And when they object to the strike off, it stops. Now, another point to consider is the banks will not be able to claim their guarantee from the government on the bounce back loan if you've been struck off. So that's a big motivation for the banks to go, oh, I'm not letting any of these go through. Now, there are going to be people watching these videos that have already had their company struck off. If that is the case, just watch, the banks are going to reinstate your companies. So you want to consider getting that company reinstated. And if the business is insolvent, get it into an insolvency procedure. So what's a liquidation then? A liquidation is the formal end of a company. And if you've got debt, it's the right way to close your company. You have to get an appointed insolvency practitioner. And these insolvency practitioners, they're officers of the court. They have a lot of responsibility, and they're there to close this company down formally, and they will investigate the conduct of the director. Every insolvency practitioner is going to take a look at how you have behaved on the run up to that company getting closed. Now, for 99% of people, there's no issue with that. You've tried your best, your company's not bounced back, and the company will be liquidated. Very, very sad. Nobody intentionally sets up a company to close it, but you get on with your life and you'll be able to fight another day. But if you've done something wrong, if you've done something inappropriately, the insolvency practitioner's job is to look at that and then report that and investigate it. Okay. Now, in a liquidation, it's going to cost you money. And it depends where you go, what the cost's going to be. Some people will charge $4,000. Some people will charge $8,000 for a small liquidation. There are people that are saying that it's going to cost £2,000. I'm a little bit wary of those liquidations because there's no insolvency practitioners I know that will take a job at £2,000. If you're being quoted that amount, it's highly likely that there's going to be something coming out in the woodwork down the line. Now, when it comes to liquidation, there are three types of liquidation. There is a creditors voluntary liquidation, which is where your company's insolvent. Let me just have a bit of my coffee. Your company's become insolvent and you can't afford to pay your debts, and you appoint that insolvency practitioner. They bring a formal end to the company. If there's any assets, the insolvency practitioner will sell the assets. And if there's any money left over, they will distribute it to the creditors. That's a voluntary liquidation if you're insolvent. If you're solvent and you can pay your debts, you can pay everybody off, and you still got, say, over 25 grand in the bank, you do something called a members voluntary liquidation, a solvent liquidation. You still need to speak to an insolvency practitioner, and they're probably going to charge you between £1,000 and £2,000 for an MVL. Now, it's typically used when shareholders want to retire, or the owners want to do something different. And with an MVL, you might qualify for something that used to be called entrepreneur's relief. So you only pay 10% tax on your withdrawal. I'm sorry, I forgot what it's called now. Now, the third type of liquidation is a compulsory liquidation. Now, a compulsory liquidation is quite a serious thing. One of your creditors have tried to get money from you, tried to recover the debt, and they've not been successful, and they've gone, you know what, I've had enough. I'm going to issue a winding up petition. and a winding up petition lands on your door, you get a day in court, and if you can't pay the debts that's being claimed for, your company is wound up by the court. The official receiver then gets hold of your job. The official receiver might investigate you, or they may put it out to an insolvency practitioner on the rota. But a compulsory liquidation is not a good thing to have on your record, because it's like you've buried your head in the sand. You've not acted responsibly as a director, and a creditor has been forced to take the most extreme type of action to get their money back. And that, yeah, they're the three types of way to close a company. So some people want to know, can I do this myself? No. If you're striking off a company, yes, you can do it yourself. You don't need to pay 250, 500 or £1,000 to companies that are going to offer to strike your company off, okay? You can do this yourself. It will take you 5 minutes. But remember, there's certain criteria you need to meet if you're going to strike your company off. If you're going to liquidate your company, you have to use a licensed insolvency practitioner in the UK. Now, if you want some advice on your situation, or perhaps be made aware of any pitfalls that you could end up in if you go into an insolvency procedure, then I'm happy to have a chat with you. First Business Rescue, we're here to give directors advice initially, basically help you understand your position in full and what your options are. But whatever you do, don't be tempted to go the easy route and strike the company off, especially if you took a bounce back loan. That's not going to work. I hope you found this video useful. Please give us some comments. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and get in touch with us if you want to speak to us. Thank you for your time. My name's Chris Worden, and I'm from First Business Rescue. Goodbye.